Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we have our market close on Monday, January 10th. We're going to take a look at SoFi. SoFi having another down day today, as I'm sure you know by now, basically following the market around, right? You see similarly here, especially if we zoom in on NASDAQ, say, comes down, brief recovery, comes down close to sort of a double bottom here, or at least a higher low, we'll call it that, and then just sort of takes off. Pulls back a little and then really takes off. So, we go in and look at SoFi, comes down, brief recovery, comes down, nearly a double bottom. It looks a little closer to a double bottom on SoFi, and then takes off, slight pullback, and then jumps up some more into close. So, it's pretty lackluster in terms of deciphering the SoFi price action based on SoFi, the independent stock, versus just SoFi that's getting dragged around by the larger indices. So, that's my take on today. I know it, bounced off of certain areas here and, hit resistance there. But like I said, I think it's just sort of happenstance by placement of the price in any given point in time. But to me, it's pretty clear that it was just kind of following around the larger indices today. So that said, if we get a picture here of, the daily, a couple of things happening. So one, there's this more recent downtrend that's coming in, and there's also a sub downtrend that's kind of forming here. We take a look at a trend line here. You see this sort of downtrend line that's just picking up the last few candles, so nothing that crazy, but I'm sort of interested to see if it'll push and retest this one, or if it's going to kind of get trapped under something new. Obviously, I hope that there's bouncing in the future, in the near future, but yeah, obviously not a lot to point to that at the moment. It's going to take some work and some doing. Obviously, this fake out has not led anywhere, and the volume's been pretty strong, right? 46 million last Thursday, I guess that was, and then almost 29 on Friday, and then today coming in at 36. And these are all, really red days. So we're seeing high volume on very red days. This was 41 million on this big plus 10% day, and then 34 million, 35 million. 46 million. So a lot of volume on these down days. So that to me is, sort of screaming it's going to take a lot to sort of right this ship. And I think the first thing, much like we were talking about this down channel here, try to break our way out of it, even if that means just moving sideways, I would really like to see a disengagement from the overall indices. I was looking at a stats, I think over the weekend, and look this up for yourself because I'm really going off memory here. But it was something like while the NASDAQ has come down, a certain percentage in the last several days, there's a certain percentage of those stocks that have come down about 50% or more. And obviously a lot of those being swept up in the tech sector, specifically in the subsector of growth and new to market companies. And so to me, SoFi is definitely caught in this subset of growth stage companies that are getting by far the brunt of the downturn in this, most recent, I don't know if we'll call it choppiness in the market, but really sort of like downturn. I know NASDAQ ended up turning green today, but I mean, Dow, even after this large recovery, still down 1.3. I mean, the NASDAQ at this point was down 2.75%, So, yeah, it's just, it's challenging days in the market overall. I definitely feel that as well. It's not lost on me. But, these are either good times to either look for potential opportunities that present themselves in these big drawdowns. No shame in sitting on the sideline. There's plenty of days where I wish that I would have just sat on the sideline and saved myself the headache. But obviously figure out what makes the most sense for you. If you have like a 10-year time horizon and you're like, I'm not super concerned about the day to day today, then that could certainly be the case as well. One thing I did want to mention that I think is worth a quick look. There was somebody on Twitter who had posted the tie-in to their mind, not so much from the indices tying into growth, but rather the Bitcoin and crypto, and that when crypto is showing strength, that it's been tying really tightly to growth stocks, maybe just a general more risk on environment. And so I wanted to kind of take a look and see what that looks like. And to me, it's looking at it pre-market especially has seemed to kind of have the ring of truth day to day. As crypto sells off in pre-market hours, growth tends to have really, really rough days, because this is sort of thinking about it in the sense of like when NASDAQ is down 1%, growth is down 5, 8, 10, 12%, right? And so watching Bitcoin, it doesn't necessarily clue you into like those larger drawdowns. But, oh, I see what the confusion is here. I was like, why does this look so different? It's because it's on the 1 minute. But rather, when you see that big sell-off coming pre-market in the crypto space, you can say, okay, it's the day maybe taking an overall tenor of risk off, and that's probably going to bleed through into the growth sector. And so this might be one of those days where we see a larger than normal drawdown in independent growth stocks, even if that means the NASDAQ turns green at the end of the day, or the NASDAQ is just down 0.5% or what have you. We may see a lot of growth stocks down 5% plus, maybe several in the double digits, what have you. And so you kind of see here, if we compare the day to day, I mean, these are over the weekend, so it's a little bit, tough. You have to kind of pull those out. But I mean, you see all this drawing down last week, and you see this kind of like, some periods of strength, and then sort of a plateauing or a flat topping, and then a drop, and then a weekend, and then a drop. But I think it's probably worth, having a gander at and see if it speaks to you in any way, shape, or form. I've found it to be helpful. Like I said, looking at this the last week, maybe week and a half in the pre-market, see what crypto is doing, and then sort of translate that forward to growth, and kind of see if there's a tie-in there. And like I said, to my mind, it's been a decent tie-in recently. And so that's been, to me, a better indicator of what may be coming, versus necessarily if futures are red or green, and how red or how green. All right, folks. That's about all that I have that's potentially newish today. Let's hope that there's better days ahead. I mean, it's definitely a challenging time in the overall markets, and I'm going to continue to just try to make the best decisions that I can, and I hope that you also do the same for yourself. And I know that that means different things for everybody. All right, folks, I hope that you have a solid trading week ahead, and that you had an enjoyable weekend, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.